This is an M3A3 Scout car. It's actually known by most people as a white Scout car, and I'll explain all that in a minute.
Please remember to like, subscribe or click the little notification bell if you don't want to miss out on these videos. And I'd just like to say thank you to all our patrons for making this possible. Please join them if you can.
Now, I said it was a white Scout car. That has nothing to do with the colour. Well, you can see that by looking at it. It's green and brown. But White was the name of the fellow, Rollin White was his actual name, who started the company in Cleveland, Ohio, over 100 years ago at least. He started out as a sewing machine manufacturer, but quickly turned to making lorries, or trucks as they're known in the States, and became one of the largest producers of commercial vehicles in the country for a while, and took on a lot of military things. Now the white Scout car, they call it a Scout car, it's the American idea of a Scout car, wouldn't suit the British idea of a Scout car at all, but never mind. This actual vehicle was developed in 1939, but it was developed from a whole series of vehicles that go right back to the early 1930s, with firms like White and Marmon Herrington producing similar vehicles, but the M3A1 is the definitive version with the wide body and the more powerful engine. So that was what really made all the difference as far as the vehicle was concerned. Now it's powered by a 6-cylinder Hercules engine rated about 110 horsepower, driving through a 4-speed box to all 4 wheels. So it is a 4-wheel drive vehicle. The trouble is they actually had a lousy cross-country performance. They were quite good on the roads, if you didn't mind not going around corners too much, but they were really horrendous across country. They fitted a roller to the front bumper. I think it's missing on this one. I think the British actually took the roller off and threw it away because it was no damn good at all. But anyway, they fitted a roller on the front to help it across country, but they could do nothing about the back. There was too much overhang at the back, and it tended to bog down in anything but level country. And of course, the minute you do that, you ruin its off-road performance because it gets stuck, which they don't want. So that was it was a good idea at the time, but it soon sort of vanished, if you like. But this is the vehicle as produced. Like it had 6 millimeters of armour plate all over, except this big flap that covers the windscreen. It comes down, you fold it down, it covers the windscreen, and you look out through 2 little slits, and that's about 12 millimeters thick to keep bullets out. But the rest of it is 6 millimeters. It won't keep out anything much, but it's better than nothing. Of course, it doesn't affect the wings and that sort of thing, the mudguards, because they're just made of ordinary steel, but they are very much in the White tradition, the curved sort of finish to them that adds a bit of style to the vehicle. But that's the White Scout car as a basic vehicle.
The Tank Museum is a registered charity, and every purchase you make from our online shop directly supports our work. We ship worldwide, and if you subscribe to our email list, we'll give you 10% off your next order. When you finish this video, go to tankmuseumshop.org and you'll find something you never knew you needed.
It took 6 men altogether. That's 2 in the front and 4 in the back. One of the problems was that the men had to get in through the door on the other side. Bearing in mind this is a left-hand drive vehicle, they had to get in through the door on the other side and file in and then grab their seats in the back. There was no back door, so you couldn't get in easily that way. And really, as a 6-man sort of Scout car, it wasn't a lot of use. The Americans used it. The British actually took delivery of a lot of these vehicles quite early on in the war. They were one of the first American vehicles to be supplied to the British Army. And the first few were used as reconnaissance vehicles, as Scout cars, but well, they didn't do terribly well. But that was what they were used for. It was only a little while later that the British discovered that the White Scout car generally made an excellent armoured lorry, which is really what it became in the British tradition. It was an armoured lorry and not a Scout car at all. And as an armoured lorry, it carried things like Royal Engineers stores, for instance, mine clearings, detectors, that sort of thing, which it could carry quite comfortably in the back, as long as you didn't mind getting them in over the driver's head. And it was also done as an ambulance. It had room inside for 2 stretchers. Again, the problem was getting it in more than anything else. And it was also used to tow light anti-tank guns. So it was actually a very useful vehicle. And the British could never get enough, not really as far as armoured vehicles are concerned. They could never get enough of these. They found them very, very useful. They have hinged flaps covering the top half of each door, so you only need to do them up if there's bullets flying about. You fold them down otherwise, so you've got a comfortable sort of view. They were also used by the motor battalions of armoured divisions to carry a few men, often standing up in the back, in extreme discomfort, I might add, but there we are. But they were one of those vehicles, a vehicle that had a lot of uses. They also had 1 or 2 rather peculiar roles. They had one version which was to do with sonic warfare, and it had 2 loud speakers in the back which raised up hydraulically, and they played the sounds of battle, sort of lots of bangs and tracks whizzing about and all that kind of thing. And it was meant to confuse the enemy and make them think there are armoured divisions on the hoof, which there weren't. And that's what they were for. And they trundled about. There weren't many of them, but they were sonic deception vehicles. That was what their purpose was. But as a Scout car, the vehicle did carry an armament. It had, you can't see it, and I don't think it's in this one anyway, you had a skate rail running round the top here, which would take machine guns. The normal armament was a 50 caliber Browning, which pointed out over the front at the top, and a 30 caliber Browning near the back. You could have both types on the same skid rail, but you could, if you wanted, bring them both. Well, you can slide them anywhere you like, but you can bring them both together, or anything else you wanted in there, or add another one if you had the weapon. So you could cover the thing with machine guns, which generally seems to be quite popular with this type of vehicle, but that's what they were. So what you've got is a pretty rugged vehicle. Probably not ideal, certainly not in the role it was originally specified for, but quite workmanlike in a way, and quite an interesting vehicle in that respect.